Welcome. In this lesson, we will explain or explore the background of corporations. For starters, we're going to look at how corporations actually started and the licensing and the empowerment embedded in these corporations to be able to discharge their duties. Corporations are bigger and larger entities of businesses which are registered and grown. So technically, for a business, for an organization to become a corporation, it has to be registered. Most times these become big, and with globalization, some of these corporations kind of do have the vision to be able to grow as big as they could. Now, a corporation is developed to the level where it can provide enough services for a wider range of clients. So technically, most of the corporations are meant to be able to expand to the reach of so many stakeholders. Their services can be within or across defined boundaries. That means they could all be in one country or go across the borders by way of globalization. Corporations, like any other business starts with a vision. A vision of where they see themselves in 10, 20, or 30 years. A corporation finds its way through the mission to the top of its dream. Effective plan and strategies are instrumental to achieving success in a business. So technically, corporations are just like every other business, but they do have big dreams. They do have big visions and missions to be able to reach a wider population or audience as much as possible. Now, factors determined by the background of a corporation. First is how it operates, the speed of growth, and the level of development and overall impact, and most importantly, the return on investment for the shareholders and stockholders. There has to be that incremental return on investment for the business to stay effective and expand as much as possible. Shareholders expect a trajectory of growth in their investment. Now, let's look at the pros and cons, or the advantages and disadvantages of incorporating. Now, the pros, which are the pros will be that it's expensive. That means it's not cheap to be able to incorporate a business. It is double taxation sometimes, and also additional paperwork. It involves a whole, but it's a lot better now that we are in a digital economy where most things can be done online. So in the back in the days, it involves a whole lot of paperwork to get your business incorporated. Now, some of the cons is limited liability, continuance, and also flexible income. So these are some of the pros and cons of incorporating. They are very self-explanatory, as the case may be. Limited liability means that both the entity and the business are completely different. Now, components of a corporation. Now, corporations are those who composed of corporations, whether as stockholders or of members. Incorporators are those stockholders or members mentioned in articles of incorporation as originally forming and composing of a corporations and who are signatories thereof. So technically, incorporators are those who are part of the stockholders who have financial shares of the business. And most times, these are all the individuals that have the voting right in terms of merger and acquisition and amalgamation, making all these very huge decisions in the business. Is all the incorporators that have got that power to be able to do that, as the case may be. Now, stockholders and shareholders, it's a little bit of difference. There's a difference. A lot of people actually look at these two concepts as interwoven, but actually, there's intrinsic difference between a stockholder and shareholder, in the sense that a stockholder has a financial interest. In fact, there's a financial investment when it comes to a stockholder, where a shareholder also has a financial investment, but a stockholder has a voting right, so to say, in the sense that they do have the right to be able to decide on huge decisions in a business, and some shareholders don't. Now, are those incorporators in a stock or corporation members? Are those operators in a non-stock operations or operation? Now, characteristics of a corporation. One of them being separate legal existence, limited liability, ease of transfer of ownership, ability to acquire capital. Ability to acquire capital, we have really expanded on it here so many times by way of share capital. Continuous life, broader management skills, and more government regulation and double taxation. So these are the components or the characteristics of a corporation, as the case may be. Thank you.